So my friend had asked me a question about the sticker on the bottom of the bumper, on the front bumper of his Terminator Cobra, and I looked under my car to see the sticker, and mine is a little faded, can't really read what it says anymore. This is on the orange Terminator Cobra, and then I looked on the red Terminator Cobra, and it was also pretty unlegible. And his looked all right, and you can still read a little bit on his. It's kind of cool. It actually says Terminator on there. You can see in the middle there. As a matter of fact, this is one of the very few places that actually says Terminator on the 0304 Cobra. So there are some stickers that have it printed, but the actual side scoop inserts on the Cobra, they're horizontal slats to match the hood heat extractor ones. And it actually says Terminator in that part number, like it's actually engraved in the plastic. And that's something that is kind of hidden, so it's like what they call an Easter egg or something kind of cool, because Ford couldn't really call it the Terminator, and so that was part of the early production process. But anyway, that gave me a chance to get underneath my car and look around, and I noticed it is a little bit dirty underneath there, and I'd like to clean it up, and I've always wanted to put on jack stands and clean under there. When I was in college and I bought my blue Mach 1, I kept it up at the hangar up at the airport, my parents' hangar. And so I'd go up there to use the internet and do homework, and then I'd take a break and I would detail the Mach 1. And I got to the point where I really enjoyed getting underneath it and cleaning it and just wiping down everything underneath the car. Nice Nevada car, no rust, and just decided to go ahead and clean up under there. So I've kind of liked to do that. And speaking of cars that do have rust, for example, here's an '03 Cobra that's for sale right now on eBay, and it's been parted out and the shell's for sale. But if you look at it, it really isn't that clean. I mean, it's all right, and I know a lot of cars across the country look this way, but you can see the floors are kind of gross and rusted, and it's just something that helps me remember how nice my cars are, and I want to get under there and clean mine up because they are so nice. I mean, this is at the point where you might even say the floors need to be replaced in a car like this, just like they do with a lot of muscle car restorations. And I was just thinking, my car is so clean, I want to get underneath and clean it. Now, I don't need to get under the carpet here because mine's really clean inside like that. Mine's just a little bit dirty underneath the car. But this is just an example of an '03 Cobra. These cars are getting old enough that they need some help. And, I had done a video about rust underneath these cars. And so here's a really rusty, crusty SN95 Mustang. And here's one that I actually saw in New York, and I got underneath it and noticed how rusty the straps are for the gas tank. This is the back section of the car. And another one for sale here in town. The straps that hold the gas tank on were all rusted, and you could see the rust forming on the inside of the car. So my cars are really clean. They're all desert cars, Arizona, Nevada, southern Utah. And so I got under here, and it's really clean. There's no rust or anything under here, but it is a little bit dirty. The car has 34,000 miles on it, and I thought I'd really like to get under here and start cleaning. And so I went ahead and dedicated some time to get under here and start the process and wiping things down. I went ahead and used some simple green and some water and some microfiber towels, and this really cleans up nicely. It's just a little bit dirty from the car having 30-something thousand miles on it, probably driven in the rain once or twice from the previous owner. I've never driven the car in the rain, but I just thought I want to get under here and just start detailing because it really is a nice platform to start with. It's a good canvas, and so side skirts are a little dirty, but nothing too serious, just, a normal car driven around, low mileage, nice car. And these are the bolts that actually hold the seats in place. They go through the floorboard. And I've had conversation with other Cobra owners when they're looking at cars for sale. They get under there and look, and those are super rusted out depending on what part of the country they're in. So everything under here, it might be a little bit dirty, but it's not bad at all. It's actually a really clean car. And I just want to make it even nicer and get under here in detail like I did my blue Mach 1. So this is just kind of looking underneath here. This is all, behind the rear bumper. This is where those other cars were super rusty. And this is just a desert car. Like I said, this one's from Arizona. It lived in Phoenix its whole life, and then here in southern Utah, it's never seen salt or snow or anything. And so I just wanted to go ahead and start spraying it down and use some water and some Simple Green. Simple Green is kind of a nice little degreaser. It's not too aggressive. And then you can go back with water. There's a sticker there on the side skirt end cap that would have said Terminator, I believe, on it. But the side skirts are just a little dirty, and that happens in no time. But you can see here where I've started to clean the side skirts. And I'll go back and do some more clay bar and detailing with that too, but just trying to make it look a lot better than it did under here. And the floor pans look really good. I'll have to say they really are nice for what they are. So here's that sticker under my front bumper. And this is just the bottom section of the bumper cover here. And it just has little spots from being splashed on, hitting puddles or maybe even driving in the rain a little bit or whatever. But I wanted to get under here and just clean that all up. So I did get to the point where I went ahead and put the car on jack stands on all four corners so I could get underneath and do a little bit more and clean the inside here of the chin spoiler. And, some of it, you'll clean it and then you go back later when it dries and it might be a little stained, but it's not bad at all. But this is kind of cool. I looked up here to see the tag that says Cobra on it. So that's the actual tag that's by the driver headlight underneath the bumper, behind the bumper cover. And so that's kind of cool. I have the one for my Bullet. It says Bullet, and the Mach 1 says Mach 1, and the Cobra says Cobra, and the GTs say GT on it. So I think that's cool to see those tags. And so it's been a really nice day. The next day I went out and went back at it. It's nice to take a little bit of a break sometime and just stop what you're doing and then attack it the next day, and that's exactly what I did here. So I thought I might as well take the wheels off. I've already done all the work to jack the car up and have it on 4 jack stands, so I'll take the wheels off where I can get inside to the wheel wells a lot better and clean all the struts and springs and all the components in there and make that look better. And I've already cleaned these wheels before on the inside, and they might look a little dirty, but the wheel actually has a coating on the inside that I don't want to rub off. It's a protective coating over the chrome and stuff. So anyway, getting here up in the strut towers, there's usually rocks and debris up there by the K-member bolts and stuff, and you can just see a little bit down here. I wanted to do a little before and after. And like I said, I had cleaned the wheels. I'm going to go ahead and clean the barrels again on the inside, just not scrub them or anything too aggressively because I like to keep that coating on there. But it was coming along nicely. It was a nice day. It was just a good time to be in there, and I was actually pretty excited about it. It is a lot of work, but it looks really good. It looks like a brand new car in here now, and it's very rewarding. I have a side of me that does the mobile detailing. I did that for 5 years with my friend, and so I do like working and cleaning on the cars too. So now this is the side that I had showed you that was dirty. Now it's all clean. I even wanted to get inside on those K-member top bolts there and get the shop vac in there and vacuum out all the little tiny rocks and pebbles. And on a lot of cars, there's rust forming there, in this generation Mustang, but these are really clean. There's never been any salt or anything up there, and hardly any humidity either. Here in the desert, there's just, not a lot of humidity to rust stuff. My friend has a '03 Cobra with 16,000 miles on it, and the car was in Massachusetts its whole life, and it's got surface rust on every nut and bolt in the engine bay, the supercharger bolts, the strut towers, everything. So, I'm not saying anything bad against people who have rust on their Mustangs because I know you can't help it a lot of the times. I'm just saying I really enjoy that this car is so clean, and it really puts it into another category of low mileage cars that are rust free because, like I said, my friend's has half the mileage as mine, but it's not as clean as this one is. So I just wanted to get in here. I got a straw and a screwdriver, and I just kind of used the straw to suck up the tiny little rocks, and then I would use a screwdriver to break up the other little rocks and things. And there's little tiny pieces of, melted rubber from the tires and stuff in here to break off and suck up. But I just wanted to clean that up really nice in the wheel wells and take the time, since I had already put the car up and I already had the wheels off. I thought I might as well do that. So here we'll look around at how it looks now all cleaned up. I did do the fender lining with the simple green, and I did a lot of the K-member here in all sorts of little areas, and the struts there and up here in the K-member bolt area. So just looking really good. Control arms, just everything looks nice. It's not like super like 500-mile car quality, but it is a nice low mileage car that cleaned up very well, and it really wasn't that bad to begin with, but you can always clean it up more and enjoy it. So I just really wanted to go through here, and so I'll look all underneath here and show you everything I did. And you can see the transmission's nice too. It doesn't have all of the oxidation on it. A lot of times there's some pitting on the aluminum of those transmission cases from cars that are in very humid climates. So just very clean, nice look under here. And here's the floor pans, and this is what I'm very proud of. I think these turned out very nice. These look very clean. And I even went along the rim of the pinch weld here, and in the caulking, the factory weatherproofing caulking, I scrubbed that with a toothbrush and shooting it with simple green, and there was a lot of buildup against there that came out, so that looked really good. I was very happy to clean that up. But you can see these floor pans are just perfect. This car has been a desert garage queen its whole life, and it's just very nice to get under here and look at all this. And my other cars look just as good too. I'd like to get under there and clean them up too. And obviously it takes time, but all the fuel lines and everything, brake lines, looks good. Aluminum drive shaft looking good. And then over here again, those seat bolts that protrude through the bottom, those a lot of times are rusty. I even had one snap off on a northern car I had bought, where the bolt actually sheared off when I was trying to take it off. I even hit it with some WD-40 and penetrating oil, and it still just was so rusty it just broke it off. So that's something I look for, just how clean it is now. And I didn't really look up under here very much since I cleaned it, but you can see it's all clean now. And I can even see a piece of the build sheet poking out. The build sheet on these cars might be found between the bumper cover and the foam up there here underneath the rear bumper. So I think I could see part of the build sheet there, but I don't really want to take the bumper off to get to it, because you have to take off all those plastic clips, and I really don't want to pop all those out just to do that. So I just like how it's all factory, it's all clipped in place nicely. So like I said, I did clean the wheels. I did the inside barrels just nicely, and then I went back and just did some water and cleaned the spokes. I did some tire shine on it too, so it looks really good. Everything's coming together. It was a couple-day project, and I enjoyed it. Listened to music, had fun, just enjoyed a nice time of year. It's getting a little cool here, so it's just perfect to be out here working on the car. And the more you work on the car, the more you love it. And the orange Cobra, it really doesn't get driven a lot, and I've put about 4,000 miles on the car since I've owned it. So I have gone out and raced it and had fun. I have a few cars like Subaru and stuff I raced that I can remember. So I have enjoyed the car, and I've beat some other cars with it. And I've enjoyed driving it around and stuff, but it doesn't get driven like my other cars. And having so many Mustangs, it does keep this car from being driven. And so I thought, well, it's in the garage all the time, and it sits a lot, so I might as well get under there and clean it. And then it's also a way to kind of get back in touch with the car, because when you don't drive it a lot, you start to lose interest in it. Not that I would ever lose interest in this car, but I think a lot of people get to that point and then they end up selling their cars because they know it's worth some money, and they just kind of feel like they've lost interest, and I don't want to lose interest. And the more you work on the cars, the more interest you get, and the more attached to them you become. And so I just wanted to go ahead and do some kind of fun project with the car and clean it up and enjoy it so that I know that it's sitting clean. Like when I looked under it, when my friend asked me to go look at that sticker, that's kind of when this started. I was like, oh, it really needs to look a lot better. This car is a very nice car and it deserves to be cleaned up a little bit. So that's the reason I went ahead and did all that. So I ended up with a whole bunch of dirty rags, but that all came off the bottom of that car, and I'm very happy about how clean it is now and how good it looks. And yeah, I'll still drive the car, and it might get a little dusty, but it won't have little splash marks. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for more Mustang content.